In Joshua chapter 6, the Israelites are about to take the city of Jericho, and God has already given them the plan. They're going to march around the city for 6 days in a row, once each day, and then on the seventh day, they're going to march around 7 times and then let out a big shout, and then the city will be theirs. That's what he said. And we've already talked about how the Israelites may have been skeptical of the plan, not thinking it was a great plan to begin with, but forget about them for a second and just think about how the plan would have looked to the people inside the city of Jericho, as they would have been standing on the wall and seen the Israelites approaching, and they would have said, "All right, the time is coming, here they come, brace yourselves, get your weapons ready." And then they would have just watched as this big, massive army would have approached the city and taken a right turn and just walked around the exterior of the city all the way to the other side, and then come right back to the front, and then they would have gone back to their camp, and they wouldn't have said a word, they wouldn't have made a sound, and the people inside Jericho may have been scratching their heads wondering what just happened. It's like, they may have said something like, well, the last army, they tried to use flaming arrows and battering rams, but I think this one's trying to kill us with laughter, trying to amuse us. You can imagine them yelling at them, making fun of them, taunting them over the course of those 6 days, throwing things at them. God's plan put the Israelites in a vulnerable position, vulnerable to a lot of venomous words, maybe even to getting hurt. And the people of Jericho, certainly, if they would have heard that plan came from their God, they wouldn't have thought much of the God who sent them. And I bring that up because I know this isn't the case for all of you right now, but for some of you, I know that's kind of how you feel as a follower of God. You're not very well supported. That some people are pretty venomous towards your decisions and your faith. They don't encourage you. They ridicule you, make fun of you, and for some, your lives are even in danger. And that's hard. And for others, there are people in your life who are supportive of what you believe. They even say that they believe the same things. But as you walk by faith, as you struggle in all the ways that any person with faith will struggle with different things, they're not very supportive of you. They more often criticize you, shame you, maybe even make you wonder if you really do believe, by their criticisms and their expectations of what you should be doing differently or how you should be feeling differently. Regardless, there have been many times in the history of the world when the people who follow God haven't been treated very well, and when the enemies of God's church kind of feel like they're the ones who are winning. And if that's the case for you, if you're being made to feel by others that the God you follow isn't worth much of anything, then just remember the day after Jesus died, and his body, his dead body, was taken down from the cross on which he died. It was placed into a tomb, and then it was sealed. And then all of Saturday went by, when it looked like to everybody who was watching, that anybody who was following that God was wasting their time. And then go to Sunday morning, when even those who did believe in him and continued to believe in him came to his tomb expecting to find him there, still dead, and so struggling in their faith in a lot of ways. And then imagine how they must have felt when God suddenly proved all of his enemies wrong and proved himself to be a God who is well worth believing in. Whatever anyone says, whatever anyone does, whatever we happen to be looking like in our lives or looking at with our eyes, even if we're looking at the death of God, our God still wins. And when you follow him, he'll make sure that you do too. Rest well tonight, my friends.